Hi, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, Texas on Thursday, August the 9th. And welcome to our video commentary. We're going to do a little history today, a little flashback, if you will, to August the 9th, 1974. It's 44 years ago. Probably half of the country was not born 44 years ago, but it was a very important date in American history because this was the day that President Gerald Ford became president. He had been Vice President Gerald Ford, and then he became president on this day. The night before, President Nixon went to the nation, August the 8th that is, and announced that he was resigning. And the resignation was effective the next day at noon, or August the 9th. And exactly like that, at noon, Gerald Ford became the 38th president of the United States. Now, we had in the past vice presidents who took over for the president, Lyndon Johnson, for example, who took over for John Kennedy after he was assassinated, Harry Truman after the death of Franklin Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt, who took over for William McKinley when he was assassinated, and Andrew Johnson, who took over for Abraham Lincoln when he was assassinated. But we never had a situation before quite like the one with Gerald Ford, because Gerald Ford was not elected vice president. Nixon and Agnew were elected in 1972, a massive landslide, 49 states. It was an amazing victory. But Vice President Agnew got into legal troubles in the fall of 1973, so he had to resign. He was replaced by Gerald Ford, who became Vice President Ford. But I don't know that anybody knew what was coming next, because in the summer of 1974, on this day, 44 years ago, Gerald Ford became president when Richard Nixon resigned. Gerald Ford is one of the most amazing figures of American history. He had been a great legislator in the Congress. He was in the House. His great ambition was to be Speaker of the House, but that didn't materialize for a lot of different reasons, primarily because the Republicans never became the majority party when he was what was called the minority leader. And by 1974, he was actually planning to retire. But then he was called into action to be vice president and then to be president. He was only president for a couple of years. He lost to Jimmy Carter in 1976. Gerald Ford was the first person that I voted for as president of the United States. Really a wonderful human being, a very decent man who in many ways was just the right person at the right time for the country. Now, he pardoned Richard Nixon, and that probably cost him his election in 76. There's some debate about that. There was a bad economy as well, a bunch of things that probably didn't work in his favor. But I think as time passes, we remember Gerald Ford in a very good and positive way. And I certainly have great memories of him. I think he was a very decent man, and we were very fortunate to have him as president of the United States. But it was on this day 44 years ago that he became the 38th president of the United States. We have all of these videos in YouTube, we have them on Twitter, and we have them on my blog. And if August the 9th is your birthday, have a good day and happy birthday. Bye-bye, everybody.